Hey, it's Alfred from The Prompted, and let's grow your Shopify store. So, a while back, we shared an AI agent that loads Facebook ads for you, which allows you to turn hours of button clicking into just a few minutes. And today, we're building on it. So, we've added new features to make the agent easier and work better. So, we've added support for video ads, we've added support for flexible budget settings. You can add your ads to new or existing ad sets and campaigns. And we've also built a tool to help you build your own upload templates so you never have to question what settings do you need to put in. So in this video, I'll show you a quick demo of how all of it works. We're going to go over the previous settings, we're going to go over the new features, and then we're going to walk through N8N to show you how we built it. And if you're serious about scaling with meta ads, then this update helps you move faster and test more without getting stuck pressing buttons in Ads Manager. So this is just one of the many agents, customizations, and systems that we've built to help brands grow faster and more profitably. So if you want to see more, then check the links in the description. Okay, let's dive in. All right, so this is our AI agent in N8N. And it works by making use of two sub-workflows. So the first one here is uploading images to Facebook. So that's this workflow here. What this workflow does is it takes the images or the videos that you have from Google Drive and brings it into your Facebook. And then the second workflow, what it does is it allows you to take those images and make ads with them. And so if you watch the previous version of our video on our Facebook ads loading agent, then you are probably familiar with these two sub workflows. Now, we've made a couple of modifications in them to give you more options on how they work, but there's a new workflow that we've added, and it's this one here. So this one is a template wizard. So if you watched the previous version, you know that we used spreadsheets like this, where there's a campaign sheet, ad set sheet, and ads sheet. And if you didn't see it, then, well, you're looking at the sheets right now. You have to basically fill these sheets out. And you use these sheets to specify the different settings that you want to use when you're uploading your ads. But what some of you have mentioned was that you weren't sure what kind of settings or what kind of values you should be adding into the spreadsheet if you want to do something slightly different than the template that we provided. So what we've done is we've built this workflow here, and what this workflow does is it takes you through a wizard, which asks you a bunch of questions and spits out a template for you, so you can just have all the settings already pre-configured. So that's sort of the high-level view of what we're going to be looking at today. So why don't we first just do a quick demo of showing the AI agent in action. So if you remember, what we did previously is the agent works out of Slack, right? And so here what we can do is we can say execute workflow. We're in the inactive mode, so we're just going to do everything in test mode so we can actually see the agent in action. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say at and choose the app here. We're going to say upload images to Facebook. Okay. And so it's going to run through here and it's going to say, okay, before I proceed, please confirm that your images are in the folder. So that's it's just a double check. So we can go here, we can see we've got our images in the folder that we specified. So now we can go back and just say, yep, we've confirmed it. So let's do that now. Yes, images confirmed in the folder. Okay, so we can just, we have to execute workflow as well. So there we go. Now it's running. And as it's going to basically work its way through this workflow here. And so what it's going to be doing is it's going to be grabbing the folder ID that we've specified in here. And it's basically checking this folder, seeing if there's any images or videos, right? And it's walking through and saying, okay, well, we're going to create a folder and we're going to create a new file, right? The new file is going to specify the images we're uploading. The folder is where we're going to drop all the files in after we're done. And then it's going to say, okay, are we doing a video or are we doing an image? And then depending on which branch we go, it's going to have to use different settings because uploading image and uploading a video has different API settings when we're interacting with the Facebook marketing API, and then it just updates the sheet. Okay, so here we see everything's completed, and we actually get a Slack message back. So why don't we take a look at what the message says? Okay, so it says here the images have successfully uploaded to Facebook. Here are the details. We've got an image, you've got an image hash, we've got some other information here. So what we can do is we can actually go into media sheets, and it just generated a new file right here. So this is the file we've just created. And you can see here, we've got 2 files, right? One is the prompted logo, a copy of the prompted logo, .png, and the other one is mobile video 2.mp4. So we actually come back here, you can see mobile video 2, copy of the prompted. So those are the 2 files, and you can see it actually finds it. And then it just gives us an image hash or a video ID, depending on whether it's a video or an image, right? You can see right there. If it's an image, we get a hash. If it's a video, we get a video ID. What we also get is a formula that creates a preview image. So let's just allow access here. So here we can actually see a quick preview of what the image or video is so that we know which one we're looking at. It just kind of helps us when working with this sheet a little bit later. But yeah, so basically what we've done here is we've created a spreadsheet where we have these assets now available in Facebook. And what we can do with them is we can actually bring them into our templates and upload images or upload videos with those values, right? And so say, for example, here, this is a template, which I'll show you how to generate later. But you can see here, we have, say, Facebook image hash, right? So we can actually take the image hash from here and drop it right in here. And then this preview, if we want to remember what this image is, we can actually copy and paste the preview URL and throw it here as well. So why don't we do that? We can say image hash. I'm going to throw that into the image hash column. And the preview URL, we're going to drop that right into here. Okay, and we're going to allow access. And I'm just going to delete this row. Okay, so now we have our image hash and our preview, and we can say go ahead and upload the create ads based on these details, right? So we have details on what our campaign should be, right? So in this case, it's a cost cap with a sales objective. We've got ad sets. So we actually, because this is a cost cap, then we have set the bid amount on the ad set. And then we've got our ad set details. And then we've got all of our ad details here. So now, once we have the template, you can actually copy and paste this format and make, copy it multiple times. So you can create 10, 15, 20, 50 ads all at once with just a click of a button once you've set up this template, right? And so every ad that you create, you can actually put it in different ad sets. You can create multiple ad sets and put the ads in those different ad sets. Have different primary text, different headline text, right? You can change the copy. You've got all the customization that you could do directly in Ads Manager, but we're doing a spreadsheet and clicking one button, essentially, or chatting with our agent to just upload all that detail that we've put into these spreadsheets directly into Facebook without having to click all those buttons ourselves. Okay, so let's use this example here. We have this one ad that we want to create. So what we can do is we can go back to workflow and let's just activate it so we can work with it. And then we can say, please upload ads to Facebook. And we can say, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so it says, okay, please provide the Google file ID. Right. So that's the template that we just created. So we're going to say, we just had this one here. So we're going to grab the file ID because we're going to have lots of different, in case we have different instances where we're uploading ads, we just want to maybe keep some of the history of our uploading so we can have different Google file IDs to upload in different scenarios. Okay, so the Google file ID is, and we've updated the hashes, image hashes. Okay, so let's do that. And let's make sure our workflow is executing. Okay, so now it's running, and you can see here, it's now working through this sub workflow. So this is the second sub workflow. This is the one where we're going to be creating campaigns first, ad sets, and then ads. So how this works is it grabs the Google file ID, which we've specified earlier, right? And it's going to be first reading the campaign tab from our template right here. So this one here, it's going to read this information, and it's going to use it to create the campaign. And then next it's going to read the ad sets tab and then use that information to create the ad sets. And then the third one is going to read the ads tab, and then we're going to be creating the ads. And so we're creating the ads by making an API call to the Facebook Marketing API. And so that's what we're doing here. And then we're working through and just putting it all together. So we can go back to our main workflow here, and you can see that it's completed. And so why don't we open up our Slack again to see what we got here. So we can say the Facebook ads assets have successfully been created. Here are the details. And so it gives us the campaign details, ad set details, ads details, and the ID, right? And so if you hop into Ads Manager, you're going to see all of that, all of those being created. Okay, here we go. We can see that these, here is the campaign we just created, right? So 12202, et cetera, 500495, right? So that's the campaign we just created, and the ad set that we created, right? And the ads that were created. Well, in this case, it's just a single ad, right? And so if we open this up, we can see that we have all the information from our Google Sheets template that was loaded up into our ad. So if I just scroll down a little bit, you can see we've got our example.com domain, right? We've got our image in here. We've got our primary text, headline, description, right? That's just what we had typed out, right? Just as basic information, et cetera, right? So all of this was found from our template here. And so as you can imagine, as you copy and paste more columns, you can just chatting with Slack, you can upload 10, 20, 30, 100 ads all at once. And all you have to do is just change some text in your spreadsheets here. So that's the high level overview of how the ads loader works. Now we can do this with images, we can do this with video, you can have different image formats. So if you want it to be optimized for mobile and desktop all in the same ad, you can use multiple placements. You can do it for CBO, ABO, right? So campaign budget optimization, ad set budget optimization, lowest cost cap, right? All these different options are possible. And all you have to do is you just change the different settings in the spreadsheet. Now, you might be asking me, how do I know what I should be putting in optimization goal, for example, if I want to if I want to change one of my settings, or how do I change the bid strategy if I want to go to lowest cost or bid cap. So that's why we built this tool here. So this is a template wizard. And what this workflow does is it allows us to build out a template sheet like this that you can then work off of and copy and paste the lines so that you know exactly how to set it up. So let me just show you how this works. So I'm going to bring this back here. Sorry, let's get this ready. Okay, so we're going to call this template wizard here, and we're just going to use a slash command, and we're going to execute that. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop open a modal box with some questions that to answer. So you're asking, basically we're going to be creating a new template here, a new spreadsheet, and it's going to ask us, are you creating a new campaign or using an existing one? So let's say we're creating a new one. Are we using a new ad set or an existing one, right? So let's say we're using a new ad set as well. Budget mode, let's say we're using CBO, bid strategy, we're doing, we'll do lowest cost in this case, and then we're going to do single image, multi-format images, or video. So let's do multi-format images, for example. Okay, so we're going to go to the next step. And there we go. Okay, so we're going to give this campaign a name. So we'll call it demo campaign name. And we're going to give this a budget. So sure, let's do $100, right? Okay, so I just have to click this button in between every time because we're inactive, right? Because I want to show you as it's working through the workflow here. So I'll hit next, and you can see it activates the workflow, and it's working through, right? So it's working through here. And so what we're doing here is we're actually working through the different steps of our wizard, right? So we've just gone through step 3, right? We've already done step 1 and 2. And now we are going to give the ad set name. So we'll call this demo ad set name. And you can see here, it automatically uses the campaign name that we used previously. We can always change this, but it needs to, but if you're creating a new campaign, then you're most likely going to be using the existing, the campaign name that you created in the previous step. Okay, so there's some other settings here that you can choose, right? But let's just move along and just keep those as default. And then now it's going to execute and bring up step 4, right here. You can see we're creating the ad settings now. And so we'll call this demo ad settings. And then you see here, right, this is the ad set name that we created in the previous step. And now you have some settings that you can set here. Now, some of these are optional. They're not actually optional, but I've set them as optional in the wizard because maybe you don't know it maybe you don't know some of these values right now, right? Because you just want to set up the template so that you can fill it in Google Sheets afterwards. So you don't need to necessarily have all this information on hand right away. So let's say, for example, this image hash, right? We uploaded it earlier. We uploaded some images earlier, right? So we have a hash. But if you haven't done that yet and you just wanted the template, then you can always put something temporary, right? So you can do like temp 1, 2, 3, 4. And then same thing here with a square, right? Now, the reason why you have hash coming twice is because this is a multi-format image. So, multi-format ad. So, which means you might have an image, the same image, but one's optimized for mobile and one's optimized for desktop. And so that's what the purpose of this is. Primary text, right? You could say, temp primary text, temp headline, and temp description. Right, so you can put all that in there. Your page ID. If you know it, you can always put it in. If you don't know it right away, you can just put something temporary, right? Same thing with Instagram user ID. In this case, you should probably know what your domain is, but yourdomain.com, maybe without the typos. Okay, right, and then you can put some UTM tags too, right? UTM source equals Facebook or something, right? So that's what that could look like. And when we put that all in place, we can now generate the sheet. Oh, sorry, we're missing a pixel ID. So we'll do temp pixel ID, right? So we'll generate the sheet. And now what it's going to do is it's going to work through the rest of this, this workflow, and it's going to read all the data that it's collected through steps 1 through 4, and starts to build the sheet out, right? So we've got 3 tabs. Remember, we've got our campaigns tab, ad sets tab, and ads tab. And so that's what we're doing. We're building out those tabs in these 3 steps. And then it's going to notify us when it's done that the Google Sheets template is ready, right? And so you can actually see the message comes first before the GUI in N8N shows it. But anyway, we've got everything completed. And now we can open up our sheet. And we have our template generated, right? So you can see here, we've got all these values that are set based on what we had put in the wizard, right? The demo ad set name, demo campaign. We could choose, if we wanted to choose different locations, we could have. And then ads, right? You can see temp, all their temp values are set in there. And then now you can use this template to, put in the actual hash values, for example. You could have put it in right away, like I mentioned, but you can also just put them in here now, right? And then your page ID, if you know it, then you just place it in. Where's right? So page ID, we know this here. So you can start filling it out and using the proper values. And like I mentioned, you can then use it as a template. So you can paste it multiple times and then update each one of these rows to create your new ads. So that's the purpose of the template, right? And if you want to do video ads, then you just go through the whole quiz again, the wizard again, and set it up for video ads. So you can see here, this is image hash, but I have a video template here, and you can see here that the ads is asking for the Facebook video ID instead, right? In this case, this is actually, you can see here, there's only 4 columns for the campaigns tab. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this one is CBO, right? It's a campaign budget optimization campaign, but this one is ABO, is ad set budget optimization. So the ad sets are going to set the daily budget, right? All this to say, right? If you're not following everything, that's perfectly fine. All of this to say is the wizard will help you generate that spreadsheet so that you know how to fill out your, what columns you need to load up into the AI agent without having to guess, which column do I need this column and what value do I put in there. The template handles that all for you, and then all you have to do is just update the values like it asks for, right? Obviously, some of these values have to be actual values, right? Like, so for the Facebook pixel ID, you're going to actually have to put the pixel ID in there. I just put something temporary there, but you're going to have to put that in there. But what it's doing here is it's telling you which columns it needs, right? And so that's the value of what we've done here. It's to just help you understand what columns you need to use in the templates to feed into the agent, right? So this hopefully makes the agent a little bit easier to use because I know some of you were thinking with the spreadsheets, they just, if you want to adjust it slightly differently from how I showed it in the demo, that you ran into some issue. Okay, so that's the AI agent. Hopefully with the wizard, it'll make it a little bit easier to use. But on top of that, with the additional features we've added, it makes it much more flexible so that all of you can make it your own by being able to have the settings that you need to run the ads in the way that you want. So let's go into each one of these flows in just a little bit more detail. I'll talk through the logic of how it's all created. There are a lot of nodes in all of these workflows, so I'm not necessarily going to go through each node one by one, but I will talk through the logic of what we've done and how we built it so that you have a good starting point for building it yourself. And if you want some help, or you kind of want this as a template, then just check out the link in the description. We share this with our program members, so you can always hop in on a trial and get access to that if you want. So that's something you can check out. Just check the link in the description. Okay, so this is the AI agent, right? So we have a Slack trigger. So the Slack trigger is triggered based on a specific channel, right? That's the channel that we were showing earlier, right here, right? So this channel here, so when we message the bot in this channel, it triggers the agent, and the agent is going to read that message, and it has a system prompt, a system message. It's basically saying, here's the tools that you have, and here are how the tools work. And so if you want to read that, you can pause the video and read through it. But we're saying that we've got these two tools, right? One is the sub workflow to upload the images to Facebook, and the other is the sub workflow to create the assets, the campaigns, ad sets, and ads, right? And so that's these two workflows that we were just looking at earlier. In addition to this, we've got our OpenAI chat model hooked up. So this is the brains of the agent, right? And so we're using GPT-4o Mini. It's a much cheaper model and not as smart, but very cheap. And it's because this agent is pretty formulaic in the sense of it's got a very narrow purpose, and so we can get away with the cheaper model. And we also have some window buffer memory, so that just keeps track of the messages that were sent. And then on top of that, we have a Slack message. So once it's done running through, it'll just give us an update on what happened. And so that's why you see these updates on, let's say, which assets were created, or which images were loaded. It just kind of updates you like that. So that's the agent. Let's jump into the first workflow here. And so this is the workflow to upload the images to Facebook. And so, like I mentioned, there's this folder here where we would drop our media, and it could be videos, it could be images. And what it does is it's going to take those images and upload them to Facebook, right? High level. But what's happening down here is it's going through a few different things. So first, we're grabbing the folder from the agent itself. We've actually specified it, hard-coded it right here, because we've just always said that the folder ID is going to be here. If you want it to be variable, you can actually change it like this and have it defined by the model if you want. And then you can chat with the bot and tell it which folder you should be looking. But I like to keep it consistent, which is why I've hard-coded it there. But we actually have a separate branch here. So you can actually execute this workflow standalone without going through the agent. But that's completely up to you. Okay, so next we have this edit fields node where we specify the folder IDs, the drive IDs, all the different folders that we want to put together, right? And because it's actually what we're doing is we're taking these images and we're putting it in a specific processed media folder here, right? So we created a new folder, and we drop the images we've just processed into there so we don't accidentally process the same image twice. What we're also doing is we're generating a file, right? Where we put all the information of the images and the videos that we've uploaded, which is this file right here. So what we're doing here, this node is going to check if there's files first, right? And then if there is, then it's going to create this empty sheet to list all our medias, right? So this sheet here, but an empty version of it. And and then it's going to move that sheet to the right folder, because when you first create it, it gets dropped into the default folder. So we're going to move that sheet to the right folder that we want to put it in, right? And then we create the process data folder that we just talked about. And then we're going to read the files that are in the media folder, right? So we get the file names, and then we're going to pass all that information right here and put the file names into the Google Sheet. So now that we have that in place, we can now work through and see, oh, is this an image or is it a video, right? Because we have the file names, we know what the file extension is, we know if it's a video or a file, and we can sort. We can decide which branch it goes on to. So if it's a video, it's going to go up to this branch, right? And so first, what we're doing is we're doing an API call to upload the video, and then we have to check, is the video done uploading? Because videos can be quite large, it can take some time. So you have to check back to make sure that the video has completed uploading before we move on to the next step. Otherwise, we're not going to have a video ID that we can use to put into our spreadsheet. So we're actually running a loop saying, hey, check every so often, are the videos done uploading, right? And so I only have one video here, but you could put, say, 40 videos all at once and upload them all at once. So that process could take a little bit longer. And so we're just going to loop through and just periodically check, are we done uploading? Are we done uploading? And when we're done, we can move to the next step. Simultaneously, right, if you have images instead, it's a lot more simple. Images are often much smaller, so we can just directly go to the marketing API call and get that output. And so we go into this code node here. What this code node is doing is it's sorting through the data that it's getting and pulling out the relevant information. Is it a hash? Is it a video ID, right? And we combine it back together with the file name and update the Google Sheet. And then finally, I'm just going to put that back in here. And finally, we move the files when we're all done to the processed folder so that we don't accidentally run them again. So these files get moved over to the new processed files folder, and they will disappear from here, right? And then we get all that information and we put it all together, right? So that's why we aggregate it all, and we send it back to our agent so that our agent can update us in Slack on what happened. So that's what's happening here. That's how we upload the images and the videos to Facebook. And we do all of that to prepare it as an asset that we can then create our ads with, right? Because we don't actually create ads directly with an image. We have to upload them to Facebook first. So we have the hash ID or the video ID that can then be used in our ads. So that's this workflow here, right? Once we've done that, we can tell the agent to now create the ads, the campaigns, and the ad sets, right? And so that's exactly what's happening here. So we give it the folder, the file ID, right? So which template we're going to be working off of. And like I mentioned previously, you can have multiple templates so that you can, if you have different campaigns that you want to put together and they have different settings, you can use different templates and just keep yourself organized by naming it so that you can come back to it later and you know which template you want to use. So we grab the campaign parameters, we use those parameters in our marketing API call, right? We pass the information to Facebook. And what it's going to do is it's going to create the campaign, and it's going to output an ID. And we use that ID to then feed it back into the next step, right? Because now we're creating ad sets. And if you're creating everything new, then you need that campaign ID because your ad set needs to sit inside of a campaign, right? And so that's why we feed it into here, along with the ad set parameters from this tab, right? Because this whole file is our template. which contains data for our campaigns, ad sets, and ads. And so we move on to the second tab, right? The ad sets tab. And we do the same thing. We pass that information to our marketing API call, and it creates the ad sets based on the settings that we've provided it, right? And so all this becomes a little bit more complicated here because we have to generate that call using the Facebook marketing API documentation, and so there's a whole format on how that works, and there's a bunch of pages on specifying what information it needs, or if you're doing it this way, then you need to put these types of parameters. If you're doing it this other way, then you need these other parameters, right? And so that's why these templates are so important, so that you get it all right when you're putting it in. So we do the ad sets, and then again, so we pass the ad set ID, right? Because if you need to create your ads into those ad sets, it needs that information, and it will create the ads. And so you have two paths, right? So one path is if it's just the image, a single image or a single video, it'll go down this path, and it's going to be one set of parameters that we have to use, right? And the call is going to use, different fields from like these ones here. But if you're going to use multiple images for that ad, then you need to go down this path because it uses a different set of fields and variables. So you don't have to worry about exactly how that all works, which is why I built the template wizard, so you can know exactly which values to use. But just to kind of get a sense of why the template wizard is so important, because it gives you the right columns you need, so that when you go down this path, it doesn't create those errors. And so here what we're doing is we're creating actually the ad creatives, right? And the ad creatives are then fed into creating the ad. And then once you've done that, it gets all merged back together, and then feeds it back to the Slack AI agent so that you're updated on what happened, right? And so that's why here we get all the information from the campaigns, ad sets, and ads, because we fed it back to the Slack agent. Okay, and finally, this is our wizard. So in this workflow, we have 5 steps, right? So 4 of those steps are to create the wizard, right? So it's kind of like the questions that we're asking. Is it a CBO? Is it going to be a video or image ad, right? Is an ABO or sorry, I said that earlier, CBO or ABO. Right, is it lowest cost or cost cap? Right, so we ask what type of ad are you creating? And so depending on that answer, it's going to change what settings we're going to be showing in the following steps, and allows us to then prompt you to fill in that information so we create a proper template for your scenario. And so that's why we have all these code nodes, because it's all conditional on what happened in the step before, right? And so this step will read what we got previously, and then it's going to adjust the questions that you're getting, right? This is why in this case, let's say, for example, in this case, you have bid strategy and daily budget on your campaigns tab, but in this case, you don't have it, right? Because one's actually ABO, the other one's CBO. So there's a lot of other questions like that are going to modify which columns you see, but all you have to do is just follow along, and it will prompt you for the columns that it needs. And so there's your campaign settings here, and then you get your ad set settings, get your ad settings, and then it'll compile all that information together to generate the template sheet. So that's the Facebook Ads Loading Agent. It's customizable and one of the easiest ways to remove hours of manual work from growing your store. So if you're serious about scaling, then we believe every Shopify store should have tools like this working in the background for them. We're building more agents just like this, so if you found this one helpful, then you might want to check out our program where you'll get access to all of our newest builds. Link is in the description. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.